Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
So you're like,
Okay. So greetings to all of you, the learners. So today is the first live session of this rerun course on Introduction to Law and Electricity. If you have any questions, you can write in the chat box so that it can be responded. And then I'll also briefly talk about the overview of the course. Meanwhile, before the if before any question comes up, and I take it up uh, for the audiences. So this is, I believe, third time this course is being rerun, and in this course we try to give a kind of overview on the Electricity Act 2003, where we try to uh, make the participants learn about the legislative framework on the electricity, that how the law has evolved in relation to the sector. As we know very well that the sector is a very important and significant one, considering the utility of the electricity. It is used not only for uh, industrial purposes, uh, not only for am I audible? Uh, can you just reconfirm once, NPTEL team?
yes, sir. Yes. I'm audible,
Okay,
sir.
okay, thank you. So, uh, so the law has been enacted to regulate this sector for multiple reasons. One reason for regulating the sector is to see that how the uh, investment is happening, and how that investment is becoming a sustainable one with a kind of guaranteed return uh, in terms of making the distribution segment very healthy, and also allowing private participations in the generating segment, and that's how the law has delicensed the generating segment. So that's what we see, the development of law. Other important thing which has been done in this law is it has addressed uh, the issue of tariff, where earlier it was suggested that the tariff would be determined based on uh, the government's intervention, but now it has been made market driven, where the regulatory body which has been established under the law, known as CERC, uh, they determine the tariff based on competitive biddings, based on negotiation, or based on the kind of insight they get from the different players. So there are different processes of tariff regulation, and also the uh, what we find is that the law regulates the transmission segment, where the law has provided for open access. Law has talked about open access and non-discrimination, wherein private players can get the access to the infrastructure in non-discriminatory way, where the generating units can decide on to whom to supply the electricity, and in that process they can ensure a healthy return on the investment. So this is what the law deals with in general, a kind of overview. The law also talks about rights of consumers, where there is a discussion that what are the rights given to the consumer under the Electricity Act, and we need to understand that electricity is not to be seen merely as a uh, commodity to be traded. It is also very valuable service for fulfilling basic rights of individuals. For example, electricity is very integral to uh, access to health services. Electricity is very integral to access to educational services. So all these things we have discussed in this NPTEL course. Uh, we have also discussed the role and responsibility of the regulatory bodies, that how the law has ensured that the regulatory body should be independent and autonomous so that it did not get governed on the dicta of the government. It should uh, look into more the best practices which are prevalent in the sector, and that's how they need to look into the growth of the industry, growth of the sector. Regulatory bodies have been entrusted with the task. So that's what we have discussed. We have also discussed in this course that uh, how the law deals with the issue of cross subsidy, how the law has given a kind of uh, indicative or aim to minimize subsidy over a period of time so that the market becomes more sustainable. Uh, so that's what is also suggested in the law. The law has also provided for captive generating units where the sort of independent, building of capacity on generating segment has been given emphasis. Wherever there's a requirement of more than 1 megawatt, individuals can become generating segment for that purpose. If that generating unit is established for the purpose of one's own consumption of electricity, then they get the status of captive power plant, and with that they get certain benefits under the law. So these are the things which are being discussed. In addition, we have also discussed in this course the power and function of load dispatch centers, which play a very important role in maintaining reliability and quality of the supply. In India, we have one nation, one grid, where the entire country is connected with grid, and thus the responsibility of the load dispatch center becomes very important for the reliable supply of electricity. For that purpose, India is divided into different reasons, and those regional load dispatch center, they have got a responsibility under the law to maintain uh, the volume of supply. They have got a responsibility to see that whatever is uh, injected in the system and extraction is maintained, and that is what is the very critical role of the load dispatch center, which has been given under this law. So this is what we have discussed in this course. Uh, we have also looked into the very aspect of energy conservation, which obviously those who are enrolled in the course, they will be reading about it in due course, because we are midway of this course, where we have talked in detail about Energy Conservation Act, that how this Energy Conservation Act is addressing the issue of energy conservation and energy efficiency, how under the law, Bureau of Energy Efficiency lays down the standards for energy efficiency, how it regulates different sectors where there is a requirement of maintaining certain standards for selling the gadgets in the open market. So, in addition to that, Bureau of Energy Efficiency has also set the guidelines for construction of buildings. So, all these are also uh, discussed in this course, in addition to the Electricity Act. So, we have discussed Electricity Act. We have also discussed Conservation Act in brief, in order to make the understanding on the subject comprehensive and giving you a holistic picture on this. In addition, I believe there are certain questions which are being asked by the learners. I'm just, for the sake of making it clear, I'm just repeating it and explaining it to the learners. Then, like, the question has been asked on the residuary power of the Parliament. Now, on residuary power, it is important to understand that the Constitution of India provides for two different uh, lawmaking agencies. One is the Parliament, the other is the State Assembly. And among these two lawmaking agencies, uh, subject matters are identified that who shall make law on what subject. In that process, the Constitution provides for three different entries. One entry is the entry which is related to the central subject where Parliament can make law. Other entry is the entry related to a state subject on which state assembly can make law. There is a third entry which is known as the concurrent list, and on that entry, both center and the state can make law. So there is a shared responsibility. But the Constitution also provides for resolution of a conflict if the law is made by the center and the state on a subject given in the concurrent list. So the Constitution provides a solution that in such a kind of situation where the law has been made in concurrent list on a subject in a concurrent list by both center and the state, then it is the central law which shall prevail to the extent of that inconsistency. That's what is the formula given. And as we have discussed in this NPTEL course, that electricity as a subject falls in the concurrent list, and that's why it is the shared responsibility of both the center and the states. And that's why still you find that the way the sector has been arranged, the different segments of this energy sector has been arranged, you'll find that distribution is largely falling within the domain of the state governments. It is the state government which frames regulation on the distribution segment, and they try to regulate this distribution segment. So it's a shared responsibility which is there in uh, the scheme of the Constitution in relation to the electricity. Entry 38 of List 3 talks about this. And then uh, what we find is that uh, what we find is that the reason could also be that uh, that when you talk about electricity as a utility, as a service, you find that it is something related to uh, not only, as I said, uh, to be seen only as a market-driven thing. It should be also seen as something which connects with basic services, basic utilities, and therefore it is important that there is a kind of hand-holding between the central government and the state government so that a kind of coordination works for the larger benefit of both the energy market as well as for the consumer. You can get this idea by reading the preamble of the Electricity Act 2003, which categorically highlights the growth of the market, growth of the electricity sector, as well as it talks about the protection of the consumer's interest. So, uh, so when you involve the two sets of government, as per this scheme, it seems that distribution is largely controlled and regulated by the state, where the state looks into the aspects of connecting with the end consumer. As we know very well that uh, it is the distribution segment which is a sort of backbone of this market, energy market, because ultimately the distribution segment they collect money from the end consumer, and which all the way goes to the generating units. So that's a very significant point. Is in relation to shared responsibility under the Electricity Act. Now the question is that what is cross subsidy? How does it apply in electricity market? Now this is a very interesting point to take note of. Uh, cross subsidy is primarily an idea which relates to this very understanding that one set of consumers pay for another set of consumers. Uh, Electricity market is a cost intensive market, and therefore generation of electricity involves liquidity, it involves asset. And in order to ensure return, it is important to take note that the user of the product is in a capacity to pay for the product or not. Now, as I said, that electricity is one product where you find that electricity is one product where you find that it is the requirement for everyone. It is not only the requirement of the one who has the paying capacity. So farmers need it, ordinary residents need it, industrialists also need it. So cross subsidy is a scheme where one set of consumers pays the price on behalf of the other set of the consumers, pays the price, in a sense, pays the difference. So that's what is the idea of cross subsidy, which works in electricity segment, which basically is about variation in the price is to be paid by uh, another set of consumers. So this is what is the cross subsidy, and that's how it operates in the electricity market. Obviously, there are questions which are being raised that to what extent this cross subsidy is going to continue, how long it is going to continue, should it come to an end. When you look at the scheme of the law, it suggests that this scheme must come to an end at the earliest. Initially, there was an attempt made to give a timeline to uh, to done away with this cost subsidy, but then it was realized that it is not possible to give a timeline because gradually it should be done. One way of reducing cross subsidy is to make the market very competitive so that the competition will result into reduction of the pricing, and which we are now experiencing that with renewable becoming competitive with non-renewable, prices are coming down. So that's one important thing which is noted. Another question which has come is the failure on the part of meeting the contract demand. There what are the penalties given, which connects with rights of consumer. Now, when you look at this, as I said that this segment is generally been dealt by a distribution segment, and therefore you find that this is something which is regulated by state regulatory commission. We have two regulatory commissions which deals with regulation of the electricity sector. One at the central level, known as Central Electricity Regulatory Commission. Other is at the state level, known as the State Electricity Regulatory Commission. So, State Electricity Regulatory Commission deals with this issue of imposing penalty on in a situation of not meeting the contract demand, and that also depends on the what kind of standards laid down by that regulatory commission and to what extent that standard has not been complied with. So this is how you find things are there on this meeting the demands. Another point which has been taken up, which has been raised, is whether transmission charge is applicable in an interstate open access wherein solar power plant is commissioned in the year 2024. This is again a question related to open access. July 2024, the government has, in order to promote renewables, extended the exemption of payments for interstate transmission for solar, wind, and other renewable energy in a case where the project has been initiated before 30th June 2025, and this waiver has been made for the next 25 years. So this initiative is largely been done considering the factor of promoting renewables. That's what is very important to look at. Another question which has been raised with regard to Shakti policy, which linked with coal supply to the generating units. What is coal supply? This is what is Shakti policy in relation to coal supply? Shakti policy has been introduced by the Ministry of Coal, which is basically a scheme for harnessing and allocating koila transparently in India. This is all about ensuring that there is a coal supply in a transparent way to the generating units. As we know that till date, the largest supply of electricity is coming from conventional, from fossil fuel, and therefore coal still becomes an important source of raw material for generating electricity in India. So in order to make the generating units more viable, more kind of ensuring that there's a kind of clear transparency in the system. Government of India has come up with this policy, which is largely to enable the uh, power plants, including private generators, without power purchase agreements, to receive coal linkage for a duration of at least 3 months up to uh, maximum of 1 year. Because why without power purchase agreement? Because power purchase agreement in a way ensures the return. Because if there is a power purchase agreement, then the generating unit is well aware of the fact that whatever product is coming up, whatever product is going to go in the market, there is a buyer for the same. So the policy has been created with that aspect in mind, uh, and this has been notified. The Ministry of Power has notified methodology for allocation of coal under Shakti policy in the month of March of this year. Now, another question is why can't delicensing the distribution be an option to strengthen the value chain with the cross subsidy provided by the government to their accounts, similar to what is done for gas connection, which is like direct benefit transfer. Now, this is a good question. The cross subsidy is something where you have to understand that it is not coming directly from the government. It is coming from one set of consumer to another set of consumer. Now, in this case, it is about one set of consumer to another set of consumer. Basically, if I have to elaborate on it, industrial consumer and residential consumer. So looking at the paying capacity, this is what is the arrangement done. Now with the direct benefit transfer, it is like the responsibility would become upon the government. Then in that case, the very idea of making the sector market driven would get compromised. So that is one thing to look at. Delicensing is a good argument to take, but then you also have to see that if you make it a delicensing, in such a situation, whether the entire market would become cherry picking. Cherry picking in a sense that the distribution company will prefer to supply electricity to only those consumers who have got a paying capacity. No? So they will not supply electricity to the one who does not have a paying capacity. And as I said, that electricity is one such commodity which should not be seen entirely on the basis of paying capacity. So we may find that the competition which this delicensing will bring may result in better services, no doubt. But then there is a possibility of pick and choose. Is market ready for that as on date? Ideally, it should have been the case. But is market ready for that as on date? That is a question to be looked at. Now, if the market is not ready for that as on date, we have to wait. Ultimately, what you are telling is a kind of appropriate model. But then we have to also see that that paying capacity alone should not become a subject matter of accessing electricity. Another important point on why to continue with licensing is that delicensing may make the players to go for a free ride. You would agree that supply of electricity requires stringent compliance with standards, which licensing can issue. And thus, unless and until we come up with that kind of infrastructural backing, it is suggested that we need to wait and gradually move towards that direction. Consumer awareness is another important thing. For example, when you are doing this course, you must have seen and experienced that there are a good number of provisions on consumer rights under the law, but that many of us are not aware. So the moment you talk about redesigning the subsidy model, you'd agree with me that that redesigning must be adequately backed by advocacy on consumer rights, awareness on consumer rights. So that's something which is very important. Government has been working on it. Tariff policy of 2016, which is a draft policy where government is talking about DBT model on the issue of power subsidy. But then it all depends on the infrastructure. It all depends on consumer databases. It all depends on effective monitoring of the effective monitoring system. So these are the important factors which are looking at. So this is what we need to identify and look at. So these are the questions which have come for discussion. If there are any questions on YouTube channel, Ajay, if you can post it to me. Okay, preparation tips for certification exams scheduled in the month of September. Preparation tip is, it's an MCQ question, and obviously part of it is also going to come from the assignment, weekly assignment, what you are taking up in the course. And the questions are generally based on the lecture, the cases what are highlighted in the slides. So kindly go through it. I'm very sure that you would find it very learning one, and also very convenient one to score good marks. So it is combination of all. So look at the slides, listen to the lectures, look at the cases which are highlighted, because it's a study on law. There case laws, it becomes very important. So kindly also look at them. Other question on YouTube is what is the difference between CERC and SERC? It is, as I said, that electricity as a subject belongs to both center and the state, and thus you have two different regulatory bodies. One dealing with center, the other dealing with the state. So it is all about the territorial difference. That's what it says. These are two regulators. Anything to do with intra-state, SERC regulates. Anything to do with interstate, CERC regulates. That's what is the difference between CERC and SERC. CERC stands for Central Electricity Regulatory Commission. SERC stands for State Electricity Regulatory Commissions. These commissions have come into existence way before 2003 Act. Obviously, 2003 Act has repealed earlier laws, as you must have learned, and come up with a comprehensive legal framework on this subject. So the role and responsibility of this regulatory commission is to make the energy sector vibrant, robust, and to work as per the market principles. That's what is the main responsibility of regulatory commission. So they are, and for that reason, they are being made independent body. They are autonomous body. They are the bodies of professionals with a very defined responsibility to ensure growth of the market and also to see that the larger purposes given in the law is being followed. For example, regulating the tariffs for the generating companies, which is owned by or controlled by the central government. So that responsibility is there with the CERC. Then they regulate the tariff of generating companies that enter into kind of composite scheme for generation and sale of electricity in more than one state. Uh, Central Electricity Regulatory Commission is also into settling the disputes between the generating companies and transmission licenses. They also lay down the service standards. So these are the responsibilities. As I said, State Electricity Regulatory Commission is more of territorial, works within a state, uh, where they regulate the electricity generation, supply, transmission, and everything within a state, within a particular state. In addition to that, the law also talks about Joint Energy Electricity Regulatory Commission, which is about creating regulatory commission for more than one state. So, technically speaking, uh, there are uh, uh, there are CERC, SERC, and JERC also. JERC is generally for more than two states. For example, one you would find which is there in Haryana. We have a joint regulatory commission, but then power and function is same. So this is what is uh, JERC. This is what is the difference between CERC and SERC. So let us wait for a few more minutes if participants are asking anything. Otherwise, we'll close. Let us wait for 2-3 minutes. I believe that the enrolled participants, they're having good learning time with this course, which gives fundamentals on the law on electricity. Okay, as we do not see now the participants there on NPTEL live session or even on YouTube, there are no questions. So with this, I thank the participants for the enrolling in the course and look forward to interact with them in the second live session, which we'll be scheduling sometime in the month of September. Thank you very much. Looking forward.